Good morning. It's Thursday, January 8th, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, lucky episode 114, and this is our last episode of the CES coverage week. I'll tell you more about what we're going to be doing later towards the end of the show. But today, I'm going to go through the last few items from CES that are pretty neat, ones you might even get your hands on, and some that are pretty impressive. Then, towards the end of the show, we're going to do a quick follow-up on the Sony Entertainment Pictures hack, and then we'll end it with a little drone stuff. That's actually pretty cool. So let's get started. Let's rip through all of the CES stuff. To do that, I've armed the Mumble Room with the most intelligent commentators in the Mumble Room. Yep. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Time-appropriate greetings.
Hello. Hello. I generically labeled that one because I just thought I'd keep it safe. So you guys probably, if you've watched Linux Action Show for a long time, you might know that I'm kind of a fan of WebOS, and I've kind of been sad to see it go. Open WebOS, though, is a thing you might, and you probably know, and LG is also a thing you probably know about. Well, those two things have come together in the form of a watch being shown off at CES. And in fact, it's being called the hottest smartwatch at CES. And it's not running Android Wear, it's running Open WebOS. It's pretty neat. And now, right now, this is sort of a proof of concept model that integrates directly in with Audi vehicles, or Audi. You know, so you get yourself a nice car, and then you get yourself a watch that integrates with your car. I'm not sure what that means. They haven't named it exactly, but they're showing it off today at CES, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty slick. It has a pretty nice UI, very fast. And The Verge did a video on it. The Verge had a bunch of really great videos, and they had to take this one out in the parking lot. But you get a good sense of the UI for those of you watching the video, and I'll have it linked in the show notes. So let me play a little bit of this. And tell me if it doesn't remind you a little bit of the Apple Watch.
We're here at CES 2015. There are planes flying overhead. It's nighttime. We're illuminating this with our phones, and there's only 1% battery life left on this device. It is the new custom watch made by LG. It looks just like the G Watch R, but it's specifically for Audi. And it runs something pretty special. It runs WebOS.
So there's the UI. It's very smooth.
You got this quite smooth, quite quick animation on the apps, which are now being responsive. So it has a touchscreen, and it has quite a few different functionality settings to Android Wear. But as far as Audi is concerned, the main one is the authentication for the car. So once you have the Audi app open and running, you just hold the phone. It works via NFC. You hold it next to the car handle, and it unlocks the car for you.
He means hold the watch.
If we bring this over to the car behind us, it will unlock the car for us. I can't show it to you right now because, as I say, the battery is about to run out. But here's a very quick look at the Audi WebOS smartwatch.
It actually looks pretty nice, I think. And the performance looks pretty good. I don't know what the battery life would be like. Of course, there it's pretty bad, and I'm sure it's been demoed all frickin' day long. I like that it uses NFC to unlock the car and has an authentication match. Hopefully that's nice and secure. And I think it's pretty cool that it's not running Android. They're doing something a little different. Open WebOS. We've seen it in TVs. Now we're seeing it in watches. How about that? Linux in a watch right there, everybody. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, as you said, the design is actually quite nice. It's still a bit bulky, but it's still the best watch I've seen so far.
Yeah, a couple of different sites are calling it the best smartwatch. The Verge wrote, wearing LG's WebOS smartwatch made me happy, and it's right now it's like the #1 story on The Verge, and it's on Engadget right now, and it's also on Android Central, and they labeled it one of their best products of CES. So that's pretty neat.
It looks like it's more standalone than the other smartwatches. The other smartwatches seem to be just attachments to a phone, and this one looks like you don't need a phone.
Right, very much so. Well, you need a car. That's yikes. That's not so cheap, but
I think it makes more sense having a smartwatch working with your car specialized that way than working with a cell phone, probably.
Yeah, maybe so. Keep both of them for a long time, right?
True.
I leave my car alone.
All right, okay. Well, if I can't convince you for a watch, what about a tablet? Because that's the other thing that Audi's doing with the Audi Q7. The primary purpose of the tablet is going to be entertainment for rear passengers. But look at it. It's a pretty nice looking tablet, actually. It also controls most of the car's electronic functions. Passengers in the Q7 can have a look at the current route via the map app, and it can even set new waypoints. It uses the Wi-Fi network in the car. They can do music choices, access media, get the speed data even if the driver allows that to be shown, and they can even access all of the maintenance information and schedule maintenance from within the app. Charging and serial. This is interesting. So it does communicate fundamentally with the engine component. So it actually knows exactly what kind of maintenance the car needs because the car's computer tells it. It does that over, you probably guessed it if you're a car guy, the CAN bus interface. That's also how you charge the tablet, is over the CAN bus interface. This is literally a tablet meant to be in the car. It also has a standard micro USB port, a headphone jacker on there as well. It's a 10.1-inch tablet. The only other details we know about it is it has a Tegra 4 processor in there. Kind of a neat idea, I suppose. I hope it doesn't add much to the price of the car. But I suppose if you're buying that car, maybe you don't care. It actually looks like a pretty nice unit, and it's got Audi on the back of it. It's ruggedized a little bit for the car.
Well, what would Jeremy Clarkson think about it?
Oh, yeah.
What?
But when you're buying an Audi, that tablet is not what's going to break your wallet.
Right. It's a pretty interesting idea. You can see it has a mount, so it comes off the mount, and that mount it looks like it can be set on the back seat, so you could have it there as a screen. I like the idea that it plugs right into the CAN bus interface. The only problem is, of course, if there's ever malware. That wouldn't be so good. But I don't like that idea when I think of it like that. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of an interesting idea. Here's an interesting idea for you coming out of CES. Again, these are products you probably actually, if you wanted to get that, you could. But this is one maybe a little more likely in your wheelhouse. It's the most insane wireless router that they saw at CES, according to The Verge. This thing's a monster. It's a D-Link. It's called the AC3200 Ultra Wi-Fi router. It has 6 antennas. It has support for the latest, all of them, 802.11 protocols. Speeds up to 3.2 gigabits. And it's just one of many. It starts selling tomorrow, so it's available tomorrow for $309. I've got a picture of it on the video stream. It looks like it could be a killer robot. It looks like it could be an alien spaceship. I mean, it's a serious looking router. They just love it. They love it because it just looks bonkers. And I agree. I think I'm gonna watch for reviews of this thing. It looks really well designed, and I'm guessing by the way they have those antennas that it probably has pretty damn strong signal. They look like a really well designed unit.
Oh yeah, that's a cancer machine.
Okay, all right. Well, if Wi-Fi routers don't get you excited, what about 3D printing wood or other more maybe realistic looking materials? Yeah, a MakerBot is showing off their ability with the swap out of, I think they have like these, they have these smart heads. I'm forgetting what they're called. I have it in my notes here. And you just swap these out, and now you can start printing wood. They announced it on Tuesday at CES. It's pretty cool. They're the new PLA composite filaments. They're made with composites of real metal, stone, and wood. Basically, these materials are in a powder form and are mixed with regular PLA filament to create a new special type of filament. As a result, the printed objects will provide more of the look and certain characteristics of the material being used. So they're showing a hammer there. It actually looks like a hammer, works like a hammer. They can be used also. You could print magnetized things. You could have the magnetized stuff in a powder. It can be heavier than like other 3D printed objects, which is kind of sometimes important. In order to print the new materials, however, the extruder is needed for each material type. The good news is the MakerBot's 5th generation 3D printers support a new smart extruder. That's what I was talking about, which can be easily swapped out. So you can go from plastic to wood to metal to maybe even cement. Come on now, wood 3D printing? Come on. That's cool, right?
Awesome.
That's super cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think 3D printing, I am so hopeful that it really takes off still in my lifetime where if not, like I've always hoped, my dream is like when my kids have kids, that they won't be going to the store or Amazon to buy toys for them. They'll just print them. Like, that would just be so nice if they could just, and that, it's more on demand, as you don't have to have all these factories printing all this crap. Like, it just would be so amazing if people could just, if they need one toy, they print one toy. And I would love the idea of like being able to print something that's wood for like a little toy set. It's such a neat idea with the things you could start doing once you can get different materials in there. Even if it's not like, it's going to be more like a press board probably, but it's still going to be wood. It's pretty neat.
I like it.
A lot of 3D printing. MakerBot is not the only 3D printing op in town anymore, and there's a lot going on there. And CNET has a good roundup on all of that stuff. Okay, I want to follow up on the Sony entertainment hack. If you have watched every episode of Tech Talk today, you already know sort of the order of events things went down because we essentially covered it day by day. It starts with a post on Reddit. The GOP takes over these machines. They never once mention anything to do with North Korea. They never once mention the interview, anything like that, but pretty soon that comes out. That starts becoming the narrative, and the FBI comes out and says, no, it's not North Korea. And everybody says, whoa, well, the FBI says it's not North Korea. And then about a week goes by or something like that, and the FBI reverses on that and says, oh, no, it's definitely North Korea. And Obama's in Hawaii, and Obama comes out to the podium and he says, yes, I stand firmly behind James Comey's comments that it's North Korea and that the FBI believes it's North Korea. I stand firmly behind that. And then now, okay, once again, everybody's back on it's North Korea. And cyber analysts or investigators or whatever you want to call people like Bruce Schneier, they're looking at this crap and they're going, this still doesn't ring true. In fact, entire companies have come out and said, look, that doesn't match up. So it's been some pressure. There's been some pushback from educated members of the security community saying this doesn't look like North Korea to us. So the director of the FBI was at a talk, James Comey. I think it's Comey is how you say it. He was speaking at Fordham Law School cybersecurity conference yesterday. And he said that he has very high confidence in the FBI's attribution of the attack to North Korea. Even though the FBI originally came out and said it was North Korea, but then they changed their mind, and now they have very high confidence. He named several of the sources as evidence, including a behavioral analysis unit of the FBI's experts trained on psychological analysis of foes based on the writings and actions. That seems like that's an interesting way to determine the source of a cyber attack is by behavioral analysis, but okay. He says he also said the FBI compared the Sony attack with their own red team simulations to determine how the attack could have occurred. So they simulated it, okay. And perhaps most importantly, Comey now says the hackers in the attack failed on multiple occasions to use proxy servers that bounced their internet connection through obfuscating computers somewhere else in the world, revealing IP addresses that tied them to North Koreans. In a statement on Wednesday, he acknowledged the skepticism of the cybersecurity community. But he said, and this is a direct quote, they don't have the facts that I have. They don't see what I see. So in other words, trust me. Just trust me. We're logging everything, so we can see everything. So just trust me. He says that they were making connections and they forgot to use proxy servers and they disconnected as soon as they realized. If that is true, and that this is when they were writing emails to the Sony executives. So when they were writing emails and threats to the Sony executives, he saw them open up email connections from North Korea. If that is true, then they had that on record before the FBI came out with their statement that it wasn't North Korea. So why would they have come out with their statement if they had that stuff on record beforehand? And now he's using information that they would have recorded before they'd made their original statement to cite fact as and proof. And say, but I can't tell you more about it. It's really weak. Or am I just being too skeptical? Mumble Room?
I haven't been following the details on the news, but I don't believe it from the start. It just is goofy, and it's either a publicity thing or just an internal cranky employee thing. Because did they do anything with the actual movie file?
No. They supposedly did steal movie files though and release them online. So
and they stole a bunch of employee information.
Yeah.
Has any of that been utilized or sold or put on sale?
It's been dumped online. I mean, we wonder if perhaps there's been some, you pay us and we won't release it. But that's another thing that some of the cybersecurity analysts have said is, well, if this was really a nation state that did this attack, they wouldn't be doing dumps like this online and bragging about it, right? It would be a secretive operation. They'd be sitting on that information. They'd be utilizing that for further, espionage or whatever. They would need to use that information. Like, it would be valuable information that they would be using. They wouldn't just be dumping it if it was a state operation. At least that would be very unusual. So it all seems It's all they say this one thing, they say the other thing, and at the end of the day, the FBI says, just trust us, we can see it.
And aren't they cooperating with the Chinese? Aren't they? Politically, they're I don't want to say friends. I don't know what the term is, but wouldn't you think that they would have gotten some help from the Chinese, who apparently have some practice in this area?
Yeah, I'm surprised that inference hasn't been made more, to be honest. In fact, there was a news item that said that the Obama administration was working with the Chinese government to try to talk to the North Koreans about it. So I don't know. It's very confusing because I think it's turned into this weird political situation. It's turned into this political mess that it doesn't need to be. It's become like the look. There is a cyber boogeyman out there, and it costs real money to American companies, and we've got to do whatever it takes. There's like this. It's turned into something else.
It's frightening to see such an obvious kind of red herring, bogus thing get believed at the highest levels and trigger these big political and economic sanctions, and that really frightens me. Yeah,
exactly. That's, I think, one of the reasons why I've followed this story. And I'm not trying to say that I've got it all figured out. That's not what I'm trying to imply. I'm just trying to say that it doesn't add up, and there's a lot to be gained by being able to blame North Korea in a lot of different ways, and it's a pretty in-depth topic. We talked more about it in Unfiltered too, so I guess I'll probably leave it at that, since we've talked about it in Unfiltered as well, and we'll go into some different angles there, including more information about the sanctions that the Obama administration has now put in place against some people in the North Korean government and a couple of companies. More information about that in Unfiltered from last night's episode as well. Okay, guys. Well, anything else from CES that caught your attention on the pre-show? We talked about 4K TVs, quantum dots. We talked about, what else did we... Oh, we talked about the double washing machine from LG. That was pretty good. But there's one thing we haven't really talked about. That's drones. And drones were a big part of CES this year. So I'm going to get to something pretty cool that The Verge did. It's put on by the guys that run Game of Drones. It's called the Drone Rodeo. And it shows you how cool this stuff is getting. So I'll just give a quick plug. We haven't picked anybody up today or this week on the Patreon. So if you'd like to go over there and be the person that bumps us up to 426 this week, patreon.com/today to support this show and the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. There's no show tomorrow because I have to make room for some recording in the studio. Fridays, it turns out, are actually really busy days in-house. Before we moved Tech Talk Today to Fridays, I didn't have any shows on Fridays because we book a lot of stuff, business stuff, in-studio pre-recording stuff, segment work, things like that on a Friday, and so we have some of that happening tomorrow. So I won't be on Tech Talk tomorrow, but next week there shouldn't be anything interfering with the Friday schedule. So we'll wrap up the CES coverage this week. Later today, this afternoon, which this is January 8th, CNET will be posting their Best of CES Awards. So if you do like the CES stuff, go check out CNET.com. They'll have the CNET Best of CES Awards up. I think by 3 p.m. Pacific is when that's supposed to hit the web. And also, tip of the hat to The Verge, who I think has really done some bang-up coverage. I've followed all of the blogs, and I think The Verge has really done some great stuff. So on that note, they have a whole YouTube channel full of crap that you can go watch about CES, and they're all really highly produced videos, and they get really good shots of the gear and stuff like that. And I've linked it in the show notes if you want to check it out. And I will wrap up the show this week. And for the last show, and don't forget their subreddit, techtalktoday.reddit.com for next week's stories, with the Verge's take on the Drone Rodeo, which is a pretty cool thing, and kind of makes me think about the Oculus VR when I watch this video. And don't worry, you audio listeners will still enjoy it as well. See you next week, everybody.
I have a lot of vivid dreams, where I'm flying. Played a lot of Star Fox as a kid. I don't know, you just get locked in and you're inside the drone, and then it makes sense. It's at first it makes no sense, and then it makes perfect sense. And you're just flying.
I gotta say 3, 2, 1, go. You're gonna take off on the word go. 2 laps, okay? 2 laps.
Hey everybody, it's Ben Popper from The Verge. I'm here at CES 2015, out in the middle of the mountains in Las Vegas, Nevada, enjoying a beautiful sunset and my first ever drone rodeo.
On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, go!
So we've been out here doing drone racing. Is that a thing? Is that a sport? Is that what hobbyists do? What is drone racing?
It's definitely in the hobby world right now, and it's starting to become more and more popular. And it's kind of reminiscent of like hot rodding days, you know, where there's a lot of tinkering required in the tools, typically. Pretty much all drone racing now is done first person because it's very immersive, as you saw, but it also forces you to really project yourself into the vehicle. If you race off the tablet or another display, there is a tendency to look up a lot, and that really takes you out of the feel of the whole race. We do find that spectators who come, they want to piggyback. You know, they want to put on a set so they can watch someone race. And people who have gotten really into it are so good, it's ridiculous.
It's really awesome. You should try it.